Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. Welcome to our show. We're so glad that you're here, whether you're watching us on one of these channels as a live vodcast, or if you're watching the vodcast later, or if you're listening on a podcast when we produce it as a podcast tomorrow. We're so glad you decided to join this audience. Let's see. Joe Conjol says, hi, Rob and Joan and the Texan team.
There you go.
We
Hello,
are
Joe.
Texan.
George Dismuke says, okay, I'm here. I've been looking forward to this one all day. Hello, Caleb and Linda. Roxton Charles are here too. Marjorie Deering says, hello from Wisconsin. I hope you're not roasting there in Texas. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
We're all well done. We're not half baked. We're completely baked.
Well, some of us are half baked. But anyway, I want to remind everybody following our show, the Voice of Indie podcast is on tonight, featuring author Alicia Butcher. And that's with Beam Weeks and Gary G. Stay tuned for the little tutorial at the end of the program to show you how to get over to Voice of Indie. Episode rewind this Saturday right here at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 Central. Author and mystery writer Joy York, episode 86, The Bloody Shoe Affair, is going to be aired. And then starting next Wednesday until mid-August, episode rewind will be the major thing on Wednesday nights instead of Saturdays.
Oh, except for when Maria de Blasi was on. Right.
On the 19th, we'll have a new episode with Maria de Blasi. You won't want to miss that one. It's really a good...
Dr. Maria de Blasi, daughter of Dr. Paul de Blasi.
From New Mexico. In the news, recently released by Maureen Morrissey, is a novel about a reluctant psychic. Seeing is Believing is the title. So you want to check that out on Amazon. And then also you want to get over to Kindle Vella and look at Paradise My Prison. That's available on Amazon. Kindle Vella, and that's by George Dismukes. Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles update. Latest release is by Richard Schwint. Men Lying Dead in a Field. We've talked about that. Book number 14 is available. And coming up July 20th is none other than Caleb Pirtle's Death in the Absence of Rain, correct?
You're right.
All right. So we're all looking forward to that. It'll be number 15 in the series. Folks, get over to the series page for Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles and check it out if you haven't already.
Richard Swint says, hello, everyone.
Hello, Richard.
And Lonnie and Becca Jones says, hello, Lonnie and I are here. Yay, yay,
Hi,
Becca.
Lonnie and Becca.
If you can see this, I'm not sure you can, but Becca made this for me. It's a sunrise, if I'm wrong.
I would do a
Becca.
close-up, but I can't.
Yeah, it's a sunrise shell that she got herself in Hawaii when she was living there. And on the back, it has sand from Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love it. Too? Yes, I can.
We have another guest coming
guest
in here. Make room over there. Okay. Hello, Mike.
Hello,
hey,
Mike.
Clifton. Another time.
Did you catch all your raccoons?
Well, kind of a tragic story.
Uh-oh.
My friend who's going to help me, I called him. I couldn't get a hold of him. And his wife called me back and said they're at the emergency room. I think they might have had a stroke. So,
Oh, no.
So we're going to go.
Oh.
I'm going to stay on a bit, but I'm probably going to leave, and we're going to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
see the emergency room.
Whenever
we'll
you need
pray,
to.
We'll pray for him.
Yeah, whenever you need to, just
You just pop
duck out
up.
and we'll know where you went.
Right. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's bad timing, but I don't guess that's ever good timing, no matter what's going on.
No, that's too bad.
So we're coming to you from the mansion of Caleb and Linda Pirtle.
More like a cottage.
Cottage. Okay, cottage. We'll change that to cottage. And they were gracious enough to host this podcast for us tonight. And
We've had a great day getting to know them. We had really a lot of fun.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
We did. We still are.
We are.
we still are.
Linda and I can both talk.
They can. Right, Caleb?
Some of it's legal.
Some of it's legal, yeah. Not all
Don't
of it,
bet
though.
on it.
And their poor dog has been in jail all day because our dog doesn't like other dogs. And it's poor
Very sad.
Piper's house. It is really sad.
Piper just wants to play.
Yeah. And Missy, ruptured her C2, so she can't play or jump, but she jumped up on their sofa and jumped down. Anyway, Joe, we started rewatching the podcast because, of course, we didn't see it, of the Haunted Hill House. And I noticed a question you'd asked that if we expected more activity there than we did on any of our other investigations. And the answer is no. The reason we took the extra safety precautions was because we had been picking up on some really negative stuff in there. So we didn't want to bring anything home with us. So that's why we did that.
Indeed.
Yeah. And if you haven't watched it, watch it. I think it's good. I don't know. I still haven't seen it.
And I told them to take all those people home with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's a new comment. Hold on a second here. Oh, Paul Hollis.
Hi, Paul.
Paul says hello. Hey, Paul. Glad to have you here. There you go.
So, Mike,
Joe
oh,
Conjal said
okay.
thanks for the follow-up. You're welcome.
Since you might have to duck out.
Yeah.
What's new in your end of the world of writing?
Well, I go to a lot of Comic Cons, and the last one, Melanie and I went to, was the Mississippi Comic Con in Jackson, Mississippi, and sold a bunch of books, sold out of a couple of my books.
Wow.
And got another one closer to home, Longview Comic Con. That'll be the following weekend. And then Longview has an art walk that I and some fellow authors go to as well. And that is pretty neat because it's in downtown Longview in their historic area, their arts district. And they have a bank lobby there. And the artists, the authors, are, we're all in that lobby, and my table is next to the wine tasting booth, so I get a lot
of excellent
Won't do better than that.
You snuck that one right in. And I'm about to finish my 8th book. Pringle Prawn is the name of it. Prawn as in small. It's really a forest fairy kind. It's a really neat. It's kind of like the Treasure Hunt Club in that it's sort of a contemporary setting, contemporary characters, but with a kind of a fantasy magical twist. And so it's probably the funnest book I've written in a long time, and I'm hoping to get it probably out for publishing sometime in August. But I work at a slow pace because I got lots of things going on. So who knows? I'm gonna try.
Can you tell us the title again, Mike?
It's called Pringle, Pringle, Prawn, Prawn. And Pringle is a forest fairy, and she's about 6 inches tall until she comes to the world of the main character, which is here in East Texas. And the longer she's here, the bigger she gets. She starts to metamorphose into a adult-sized woman. The longer she's away from the world where her magic belongs, instead of in the contemporary world that we belong in. It's kind of a romance story too, but it's like I said, it's a fun book. And I've gotten the critique group that I belong to. We've been doing this for years now, and I've gotten a better response from them on this book than I think any that they've critiqued up to this point. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's great.
That is great.
We do have a couple of comments. George Desmuke said, "You got to be careful. Evil things will follow you home. One followed me home, named Deborah."
Oh,
wife number 5.
no
longer.
Well, can I mention that today
can mention anything.
is my anniversary. Melanie and I have been married 43 years today.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yep. It's good to make
Proud
it
for
that
you.
way. Joe Conjal says, "Hi, Mike. I've seen your Comic-Con pics on Instagram. Seems like a good venue to sell books." I never considered that. Is it expensive to have a booth there?
They're going to range from about $175 to $250 for an artist. Now, vendor booths, the ones that have, a lot of a product to sell, theirs is much more expensive. And it also depends on the comic cons that you go to. Some of the bigger ones, like what was the Dallas Con that was just they just had that several weeks ago.
Yeah, Fan Expo.
You might pay $500 or $600 or and up for an artist booth, and then
Actually, Mike, that Fan Expo, we priced it $1,000 for a booth.
Was it?
Whoa.
Yeah, we just unless you get 5 or 6 a couple dozen people into the booth, there's no way to be able to make your money back on it. So you're right. There are some that are like, wow, this is affordable. The $100 to $200 range. At $1,000, I don't see how you can make your money back.
Yeah, I would imagine the Tampa one and the Orlando one are probably like $1,000 a booth because they have huge names,
Yeah.
You have to pick and choose because, like I said, you got to do what you can afford. What I try to approach it as breaking even, because what you're doing is getting your name out there and you're building a readership and not always.
Right.
I mean, I've gained a lot of readers through that. And for people who write fantasy and science fiction, obviously it's a natural venue for people who write science fiction and fantasy.
Absolutely, you are right. Joe Conjal says, "Congratulations, Mike." And
Thank you.
George Desmuke said it was number 3. I'm sorry, Deborah was number 3. He got smarter by number 5.
I thought
And
it
if
was number 3.
Nadine is number 5, you're darn right you got smarter. She's the best. Lisette Brody, I see breaking even as a plus too.
Absolutely, Lisette.
Yeah, Lisette, you're absolutely right because you're getting out there. People are getting to know your name and it's good advertising. So yeah, I agree. Especially at a Comic-Con. I mean, a lot of people go to those. I mean, at least they do in Orlando and in Tampa.
We've been to the Houston Comic-Con and it was 30 to 40,000 people. So foot traffic is not the problem. It's just it's your endurance because you're like there on the floor 8 to 10 hours for 3 days. So you gotta saddle up but yeah, you're right. To Mike's point, you can make your money back and harvest new readers and new fans.
And that's great. It's always great.
It really helps to have somebody with you, what Charles is saying, because if you don't, you know what you're gonna have to go to the bathroom, you're gonna have to take a break, you're gonna have to get a drink.
Yes.
Right.
You're gonna have to eat.
My wife is my indentured servant labor, so she helps me. And it's funny because she likes cozy mysteries. She doesn't like science fiction and fantasy, so but she perseveres.
She perseveres.
Does she visit a lot of other booths?
She does.
Yeah.
She does. And we've met a lot of friends, people who are vendors as well, and that we see pretty much at the same, the same Comic Cons we go to, and they're really neat people. And of course, if you've been to these cons, you're going to see some strange sights, but that's kind of the point.
I've been to a lot of them. You're going to see some very strange sights. You're also going to see people that feel that clothing is optional.
Yes,
So
some more than others.
Yes, indeed. Marjorie Deering wants to know how many vendors usually attend. It depends on the Comic-Con, I think.
The size, yeah. I mean, like the Houston one that Charles taught, I'm sure they had hundreds.
Hundreds,
Usually?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you have to get there the day before because it's a fist fight to be able to get onto the dock to be able to load up your stuff. And they've got some booths that are so elaborate that they're like, they got their own cranes to be able to pull all the stuff in. I mean, they're fantastic. So, it's an interesting venue, and you're right. You need to have somebody in the booth with you because there's no way to be able to get away and go schmooze with the booth babes in other places, or some of the cosplay gals that are as Joan would say, pushing the envelope for their costume.
Hey, Charles, how many? What percentage of those would be authors or books? People selling books.
1%. I mean, it's like, we're all grouped over in one corner. So it's like competition? No.
Okay.
I think that all the Comic Cons that I've been to, that's true. There are not a lot of authors. There are a lot of artists selling their original art and comic book guys. And so, but not a lot of authors. So it could be pretty profitable, I guess, if you found the right one. Joe Conjal said we just had HeroCon in Charlotte. That's always cool.
There's a website. There's a website you can go to called southernfandom.com, which has a running list of Comic Cons throughout the South that you can go to and see if it's one near you. Most of the cons that are any good anyway, you have to really get in early because they sell out of the artist booths, the ones that we would do. They sell out of those real fast. Yeah.
Like that, the granddaddy of all is the San Diego Comic-Con. I used to go to that many years ago, and I haven't been in a couple of decades, I guess. Probably is easy way to put it. And they take over the entire city of San Diego.
They do.
I mean, it's not just in one building; it's in this block. You have to have a map. You have to know what you're doing, and they have film screenings, and it is a place to be seen. No two ways about it.
The panels are amazing at that one. You can go listen to all kinds of people, but it's really difficult to get tickets too. You have to, as soon as the tickets go up for sale on Ticketmaster, you have to be sitting there at your computer if you want to go.
We had a friend go to the New York Comic Con, and he had basically it was an auction for tickets. That's how important it is for people. Of course, they show up with a sack full of money. So, if you're hustling like Mike suggests, you can make some fantastic friends.
Marjorie Deering said it must be hard to stand out among that many. People spend the day just walking up and down all the aisles, Marjorie. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people. We're talking thousands of people walk up and down the aisles to see every booth.
Everybody reads.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Well, most people do.
Well, most people read. I don't know.
I've never been to one. So do the participants all dress in costume or just
no?
They don't.
Some of them do. They actually have cosplay competitions.
Mm-hmm.
That's where You know, I mean,
Those are the
you get
guests, not the.
they dress up like movie characters, or they dress up like comic book heroes, or they dress up like you know one of the heroes in Caleb's books. I mean, there's all kinds of gimmicks that they go through, and Roxanne and I have been at a couple of these shows, the smaller ones. They're in Irving, and we have a guy next to us, and he knows all of the. We like, psst, psst, hey, who's this coming? Kind of thing, and she's got thousands of pictures of all these different people, from 5 years up all the way up to our age, dressed in costume and just parading, and it's a fun exercise for them, and it's a great conversation starter. It's easy to be able to get engaged in those and lose yourself for 2-3 days.
Real. For real. And when we go to the Orlando one, they'll have different rooms like for everybody that's dressed up like Sailor Moon, and other ones where all of the fur people go. They're dressed up as furry animals. And I mean, it's just crazy. And some of the costumes are amazing. I was talking to one of the celebrities that was there, and this guy came up and he was dressed like a stormtrooper. And the celebrity was like, okay, wait a minute. Did you make that yourself? And the guy said, yes, I did. He did it in a auto shop. It was incredible. It looked just like a stormtrooper. Right. These people go all out. They spend thousands on their costumes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And there's actually especially vendors there at the shows selling art props to go along with it, fake weapons, things that were like, okay, this was in Star Wars, and this it's like and they have they're selling it like crazy. What I found though was anybody dressed up in a cosplay outfit didn't have any money because they spent all their money on the costume.
There you go.
Yeah. I'd love to buy something, man, but I spent all my money on my costume. So can I just look at your stuff? And I'm like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever.
Well, that sounds like Charles. That sounds like the fella that was in the booth next to us at Haltom City.
Yeah.
I asked for his business card, and he said, "I don't carry them. Just take a picture of my poster. That's it."
Take a picture of my poster.
He was very creative.
Richard Swin said, I need to check one of these out. Yeah, they're fun if nothing else. And Joe Conjal says, Linda goes to PoodleCon.
Right.
Okay. And Connie Cleary says, evening, everyone.
Hi, Connie.
Okay.
Let's see what the...
It's what Charles, you're saying. It's amazing that they'll spend $50 to $100 on a prop.
Exactly.
And, and
scrimp and save for weeks. Yeah. I got the weapon, or I got the shield, or I got the helmet, or I've got. I mean, they sell everything there. From corsets to footwear. I mean, my gosh, if you can't build a costume at a good comic convention, it's not a good comic convention.
Well, at least it's real props instead of a virtual reality, the way some people get on the internet and decorate a house that isn't even real.
Yeah.
So,
right.
They do that.
Not that all the comical characters are real either, but people dress like them are.
With that,
thank you for that clarity, Linda. It's like
yeah.
With that, I think we need to hear from our sponsors. So if you guys want to hang on here for a couple of minutes, we'll be right back.
That's if we ever
go anywhere. Hang on.
It's 1919. Back from the war in Europe, Eric Lasko returns to Floodwood Station, Ohio, the small coal mining town he calls home. There, he faces new foes. One poses a threat to his personal long-term relationship. The other is lurking in the adjacent Hocking Hills State Forest, a vicious, incredibly lethal beast driven by bloodlust. An 11-year-old girl and an old man have seen the creature, but no one believes the claims of a young child and a known drunk. When the first body is found, Eric, his father and brother, become suspects in his grisly death. To clear himself and his family, Eric must prove the beast exists. As the gruesome body count rises, the immigrant miners realize what's stalking their town. Every country calls it by a different name, but the creature is the same. Werewolf. Who is it? The residents reach a conclusion, but are they right?
Mystery hovers in the Magnolia Bluff Public Library. It has nothing to do with the hundreds of suspense novels on its shelves. Caroline McCluskey is the librarian. She finds a crimson hat and a black and white poodle puppy. They belong to Esther Williams. Esther is missing. The police can't find her. Neither can the FBI. Esther's only hope is a ring of 3 women investigators who form the Round Table. The Round Table has already solved one mystery in town, but this time, a woman's life is at stake. The Doggone Diamond Dilemma is now available on Amazon.
Now on Kindle Vella. Paradise, My Prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Published by Fresh Ink Group, Paradise, My Prison is on Kindle Vella with 3 free episodes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes.
And we're back.
And as George says, and now Paradise, My Prison will be made into a movie.
That's the next project for George
That's exciting.
Dismukes.
Exciting news.
Just released today. Just that information was just, that announcement was just made today.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's great. Okay. So.
All right. So now, what's happening with Rox and Charles?
That's an interesting question. You go first, Rox.
So we actually have The Killer Enigma. It's on pre-order right now, and it will be out in August. August 20th is the release date. If you want to grab an early copy, it's a little less expensive right now. Again, it's on pre-order on Amazon. So it's very exciting. I mean, just working with this group of authors, it's been, I don't know, fun would be a good word. Exciting, and we've learned a lot. Thank goodness it's a great group.
Yeah, the big lesson was make sure you ask before you whack somebody or use somebody because they may have been whacked on an earlier book. That was a little bit, yeah, talk about a cold rush of poop to the heart. Like, what do you mean you killed this person? My God, we have to rework the story now.
So before we go any further, Charles, would you like to tell everybody what the basic premise of Magnolia Bluff, how it's set up so that they know what you're talking about?
Interesting. It's a. I used to think it was a town that we made up for our collective destruction purposes, but I got a message in the mail today that said, "Hey, you can buy these different."
Oops.
You can't. I can't get this scene on the.
Nope, you got the background. It's not going to work.
Okay. Yeah, it's not going to work. Anyway, they're selling hill country ranches, and on the back of it, it has a picture of a city called Magnolia, and it has truncated, and it's actual. It's I think our city, Magnolia Bluff, our postulated hill country place of wonder and terror has become real live production in an area just north of, or just south of Waco. So it cracked me up to see that they were selling lots close by, and of course I'm going to go look at it just to see if the cemetery is large enough for all the people that.
No, Magnolia Bluff is an amazing place, though. It is a small town in Texas, in the hill country, and it's near the Burnett Reservoir. And I mean, we have created some amazing. We have a town square. We have, we have a new spa place. We have bed and breakfast. We have food. I mean, and then we have like a library and all these groups that get together. And we have people that are just dying to get in there.
I think that the town theme, we should consider Magnolia Bluff a great place to come to die.
There you go.
That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a place to stay away from unless you want to die.
Yeah.
Sounds
I mean, it's only its biggest industry is the cemetery. Okay, let's be fair.
No, what's fascinating about those, you have a bunch of authors. Now we're up to 12 authors that write their own genres. So, you have people that certainly write really excellent cozy mysteries like Caleb and Linda. And then you have us that add a little, thriller element into our books. And then you have, Cindy, who has a little paranormal going on with some really fun music in the mind. And so you get a really good variety, and we have, it's really exciting. So the Killer Enigma is releasing in August, and who's got sample chapters at the end of our book? Joe Control. I'm so excited. It's great too.
So his book comes out after you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Joe has a great thing. First he says, "Wow, cool, George. It is. It's really, really exciting. I think this is a good idea. Paradise, My Prison as a movie is a great idea." Joe Conjal says, "Magnolia Bluff. People are dying to visit." There you go.
But each story has so many twists and turns, and it's a shame because some of the people that we thought originally were really good people, they have evil in their hearts.
We won't say who.
Oh no. And we don't know that other people created. So if you created a character, they're yours, but we might use them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now we have to use them differently.
Yeah.
There you
To
go.
your point, Rob, the whole concept is let's take a town and everybody have a different perspective of the activities going on, and let's they shuffle characters back and forth. We've lent some of our characters to Kelly, and it's a fun exercise to be able to pick up any one of the stories, because they're all terrific, and have a different perspective of what you would see from their point of view. So it's like some of the older murder mysteries where they have the same character coming in all the time trying to solve a problem. This one, we've got several different characters, different points of view, but they're all focused in the same city. So Magnolia Bluff is that city of focus, and that's where the character exercises are so interesting, because you might see the same characters, you might see some different ones, you might see the psychological thrillers that Richard Swint does that I find very interesting. So it's a fun way to look at something through a different lens from each book.
And there's
It is. And then we have Cindy, and she once said, it's very interesting because your take on some of the characters is very different than my take on some of the characters. And it's just like living in a small town. We all react to people in different ways and perceive their intentions, their whatever in a way that relates to us. So, I mean, it's true. They're all very different perspectives, and yet it's the same person.
Yes, and that's real life. That's what's so cool about Magnolia Bluff, is that if you have a city of 10,000 people, you have 10,000 perspectives and can all watch the same thing and come back with a slightly different story about what they just saw. So, yeah, it's awesome.
So we have 14 titles so far, and number 15 is coming out here pretty soon.
Caleb?
With Caleb.
July 20. July 20.
July 20.
Yeah.
That's
It's death in the absence of rain.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what it
That's
is.
what it says on my paper. Death in the absence of rain.
You want to tell us a little bit about that, but don't give away any spoilers.
Well, if anybody knows anything about Texas in July and August, they know that we're scorched. It's a scorched earth world. You get up in the morning, you look at the sky, and it's yellow. You look at the grass, it's turning yellow. You look at the flowers, and the ones that were yellow are now brown. And you look at the sky for rain, and you can tell immediately there ain't going to be no rain. It's that part of Texas, that part of the year when you have churches get together and pray for rain. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And then the basic plot is Magnolia Bluff is surrounded by Burnett Reservoir. It is a great fishing lake. It is the watering hole that's huge, and it kind of keeps everybody wet this time of year. And now they get up in the morning, they gaze out at Burnett Reservoir, and it's drying up. Cakes of mud, dry earth. You wonder if there's anything ever coming back to life. And slowly you realize that all of those secrets, all of those hidden secrets of Magnolia Bluff are buried in the mud of Burnett Reservoir. And you never know who's guilty, who's innocent, who needs to run, who needs to stay. But slowly and surely, those secrets begin to expose themselves. And the people you least expected are the ones that wind up as the most guilty. You just don't know who, you don't know when, you don't know why, you don't know where. But they're there, and their secrets are slowly starting to recover from the mud.
Whoa.
Yeah, Caleb, you're terrifying to listen to. You know that?
I know. I was just.
I mean, the last one you did for the series, it's like on May 23rd, somebody got whacked, and so the whole town goes into lockdown trying to figure out who's going to get next, and talk about a nail biter. Jeez,
Yeah,
it sounds like this was
Charles,
going to be.
You're not sitting at the same table with him either.
Charles.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
One of my friends read one of his stories and came running to my house, slammed the door, and put her arms out like this and said, "And you sleep with that man?"
Powerful. That is powerful.
Yeah.
George Dismuke said, "This is a good one. You must visit Magnolia Bluff if it's the last thing you do."
And it may be.
Marjorie Deering absolutely loved what you had to say, Caleb. She said, "I loved Caleb's eulogy in black and white." It is
Well,
very
I appreciate that.
I did too. It's awesome.
good. Yeah. Do you
there's a
bring
lot of
back some
truth.
of those people in your book, those characters?
there's a lot of truth in eulogy in black and white. I'm an old newspaper man. I go back 40 or 50 years in the newspaper business. I published small town newspapers. I published large newspapers. And it doesn't make any difference what size of town you're in. There's somebody there who has a secret that nobody knows about, and it raises its ugly head, and the town is forced to live with it or die with it.
Dun, dun, dun. Joe Conjal said, you could hear a pin drop when Caleb was speaking. Everyone was intently listening. That is the truth.
This is not
That
a cable
is,
show.
I know.
But we do need to do.
Well, Magnolia Bluff's that kind of town.
Yes.
Caleb's descriptions are amazing. It's like, I don't think I've ever read anyone whose description of the scene, from the color of the flowers to the clothes people are wearing, whether it's 50 or 60 years ago or present day, it's like you're almost there. And I don't think I've ever read anyone who does it as vividly as Caleb.
Definitely.
Well, I appreciate it, Joe. You know, I'm kind of like you. I've been around a few years. I spread a lot of words. And after a while, the spreading gets a lot easier.
Time for a commercial?
For our commercial. So
Word from our sponsor, and we'll take more.
Be back in a couple minutes.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
First, there was Siren Song, then Siren Song 2. Now comes The Siren Hunter, a continuing saga about Angie Holland and her never-ending battle with the mythological denizens that are not even supposed to exist. Is The Siren Hunter a conclusion to the undersea horror? Only the sirens know for sure.
The Siren Hunter, now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Or contact this podcast. The trilogy is complete.
Madison Jackson loved being a cop. A young girl is raped and murdered near Burnett Reservoir. Madison vows to get justice for the child. Madison travels to the heart of Mexican cartel country. She is kidnapped, tortured. Will Madison ever make it home? Justice by Kelly Marshall, only at Amazon.com.
Welcome back. I had to leave. And Marjorie Deary said, I still think you need a lazy Susan for that mic, LOL.
True that.
Okay, Linda, you're up.
Okay. I'll talk a little bit about Magnolia Bluff. I agree with all the comments that everyone has made thus far. We do have a lot of characters, and the authors present them with different perspectives. But I like the camaraderie of all the little different groups. The blue bloods, those who were born there, grew up there, lived there, are being invaded by newcomers. And each of those newcomers has come to Magnolia Bluff with a background that perhaps they don't want anybody else to know about. And then my next Magnolia Bluff book is going to be a retreat for a bunch of girls who went to high school together. It's going to mirror Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, and we're going to find out something about each of those women. And some of the stories are funny and some of them are sad. So I can't wait to get it started. I've got it all up here right now. So all I need to do is put it on paper. And of course there'll be a poodle. You know, there has to be a poodle.
Ooh. What color poodle this time?
Oh, they're all black and white.
Oh, well, naturally.
Yeah.
It's a black and white poodle club.
Well, you in Magnolia Bluff.
In Magnolia Bluff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your other poodle was all white.
All white. Yeah.
And such a good boy. Okay. There we go. Joe Conjal says, wait. Sorry about that. Joe Conjal said, doing that is so true. All the newcomers have a secret of some kind. Yeah, that's why they're coming to town.
Yeah. Well, they all want to start over and forget about their past or push it behind them. And they think they're coming with a clean slate, but you can never run away from your past. It'll catch up with you every time.
And Richard Twin said, wife of both? Wow. Not sure about that comment.
We need some clarification on that.
What it looked like was wife of Bath.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Is that it? I couldn't see it. I don't have my glasses on, Joe.
I do, but they're not
Richard?
working. Oh, wife of Bath.
Oh,
I thought you guys were editing it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Canterbury Tales.
Of course, I kind of like, my favorite is The Pardoner in Canterbury Tales. So I'm going to have one of the ladies be a judge or an attorney. And by the way, these are real people that I'm writing and including. They are my high school girlfriends. And I have written permission from each of them to use their first names. But I switched all of their careers around. And I wrote one an email and told her that she's going to be a model for a top fashion magazine. And she said, oh, I always wanted to be beautiful. So I think they're going to enjoy it as much as I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah. And Richard Swin said, Bath, Canterbury. Yeah, I finally got it. I was like, wife of Bath. Yeah, Canterbury Tales. Thank you, though, Richard. T-shirt design from George Dismute. I survived Magnolia Bluff.
There's been nobody to buy it. There's nobody left.
Well, maybe we'll have some tourists come in.
Just passing on. I mean, through.
Passing on. Passing through as they're passing on as they're passing through.
I guess we're going to have to develop a museum, a wax museum with all of our former characters.
There you go. But in the heat in Texas, it will melt.
They'll melt.
Yeah. Ain't going to work.
I know. Well, we have a lot to look forward to, don't we, in Magnolia Bluff?
We do. And we have our own paranormal team coming into Magnolia Bluff.
Yep.
The first of the year, but
yeah,
at that point there should be quite a bit of activity.
Mm-hmm. I think Rox wanted to say something.
I was going to ask, when is your book coming out?
Ours?
Or
Linda's? Linda's.
Oh, mine.
I know Linda's. Joan and Rob.
January.
Nice. Okay, good.
And then there'll be a lot more dead people there.
That cemetery has all the land it needs, it seems.
I think we're going to have a is it a columbrium where you bury the ashes, because we've run out of room, unless they buy some more land. The city does.
Well, if Burnett Reservoir is drying up, you start burying them in there.
Well, and we had a winery. Now we've got a new winery. People are just taking to all the wine because they can't handle all the mystery that's coming out of Magnolia Bluff. You have to drink a little bit.
Or a lot.
Or a lot.
George says, I don't have an A left, but I survived. And Lizette Brody said, you're all doing an outstanding job with the Magnolia Bluff series. Yeah.
We're in the middle of the Texas Hill Country, which is very famous for its wines anyway. So it's like a perfect kind of thing to do.
Yeah, we could have a wine tour sometime in one of our stories. So maybe my girlfriends will do that.
Yeah, we have in our book Blue Bonnet Festival, because we know that everybody in Magnolia Bluff loves festivals.
Yeah, they wear blue
Cindy
bonnets.
told us that.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, those are flowers.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, you'll have a wine festival tour. And on the third winery, you'll find a body at the bottom of the second keg.
Oh, no.
Don't doubt me. It'll be there.
Yummy.
That would be excellent. George Conjal says, maybe someone should put a Loch Ness type monster in the lake and then feed it the corpses. Oh, Joe.
Joe, the only thing that will live in that lake is catfish.
Just catfish.
Yeah, because they feed on
their bottom feeders.
Right?
Got that.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about this August 16th. We're going to have Magnolia Reveal Part 3 with Breakfield and Burkey, Joe Conjal, and C.W. Hawes. And that's our regular show, Wednesday, August 16th, 7 o'clock. It'll be our next live show.
Except for Maria de Blasio on
That's
July
not a live
19th.
show. That's
that is a pre-record.
Episode.
You're right.
Yeah. It's a pre-recorded new episode. But our next
we were live
show,
when we did it.
We still are, I think. We may not be after this show.
You haven't been to Magnolia Bluff yet.
No.
No, but
we're on the way.
We're in the same room with a couple of authors.
Joe Conjal said body disposal plan. Yeah, but we're staying right now in a town called Weatherford, and I have never seen a little town have so many cemeteries. I mean, there's a lot of cemeteries.
More cemeteries than churches.
If you lived in Weatherford, you'd look for a cemetery too.
We went investigating the cemeteries with our other teammates.
It's a neat town.
There's some really old cemeteries, some really old graves from the 1800s. So that was fun.
And the inscriptions on those old headstones is always very interesting.
Right, right.
What I find hard are the babies and the 3-year-olds, and and then their mom's buried beside them, and it's mother of those. Oh yeah. And during that flu epidemic, there a lot of them died that year. So
right.
That kills me every time.
Well, and it was a hard life back then.
It was.
It was.
It's a hard life now.
I can't imagine living in this part of Texas with no AC. And they didn't have anything like that.
I know. Well, I remember when I was a kid, we didn't have air conditioning in our car. And I think about it now when we're in our car, I'm thinking, holy cow,
Everybody yelled at everybody because all the windows were down.
Yeah.
And you couldn't hear anything.
I couldn't do it now.
No.
You're lucky. Linda, you're lucky. My dad made us roll up the windows. We didn't have air conditioning, and he was too proud to say, he wanted everybody to think, we got air conditioning. We're all sweating like dogs in the car. But he so, we didn't get to roll down the windows.
Caleb has a story about like that in a small town.
Yeah, Linda and I grew up in Kilgore. And all the girls in Kilgore tried to look like beauty queens. The only thing, it's summertime, it's 110. They didn't want the boys to think they had cars without air conditioning. So they would put on their lipstick, drive around town, honk at all the boys, wave at everybody, and then race to the city park and put lipstick back on because it had melted on their chin.
And roll down the windows, and that, we didn't have push button. You had to actually physically roll down the window, stick your head out and get some air.
When the handle broke off,
you were in trouble. Trouble.
Okay, so that's the mic squeaking. Sorry about that. George Dismuke says, George Dismuke says, a stiff a day keeps the creature away.
That's true.
That's true. And then Marjorie Deering says, it's neither here nor there, but they should bring the fly windows back in cars. Those worked great.
Oh, yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah. I like the AC, to be honest. I really need to bring up how we can reach everyone.
Yeah, why don't we get a little of that in here?
Okay. You want to read that?
Yeah, Caleb and Linda's website is www.kaylaandlindapirtle.com. And to reach Caleb on Twitter, it's at Caleb Pirtle, Pirtle.
Caleb is Caleb,
right?
Not Cable.
Not Cable.
Yes.
Right, it's Caleb, definitely.
Caleb.
And on Facebook, it's Caleb J. Pirtle. And Linda on Facebook is linda.pirtle.10. And then for Breakfield and Burkey, their websites, enigmabookseries.com and roxburkey.com. That's roxburkey.com. And for on Twitter, for both of them together, it's at 1R Burkey and at Enigma Series. And on Facebook, it's roxanne.burkey.50 and the Enigma Series. That's where you can get a hold of all those folks.
And notice how cleverly I had him read it. Usually I have to.
You notice how cleverly I didn't spell everything.
And we would like to thank everybody who took the time to send in comments tonight.
Absolutely.
Your comments made the show.
Absolutely.
It made us glad we're here.
Exactly.
Yeah, we love the hazing on live mic. It warms us. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's always nice to be hazed, huh?
We love the comments. If we didn't have the comments, we wouldn't have a show practically. They are what make. I love that our audience can comment.
Comment
I love
driven.
it.
Yeah,
yep,
it really
it is. Lizette Brody said, glad to be here when I can. We're glad to have you whenever you can be here too. Lizette, who's an author in her own right, very good author, I might add.
So, yes. Charles, would you have anything else you would like to share with the wonderful people listening?
No, we're just working on the next story in the Enigma book series, the second edition in the Enigma Heirs books that we're working on. The new techno thriller series that we started with Tracer that you were so generous to be able to put on the show and advertise. So thank you. It's the follow-ons book to that, and there'll be a third one after that that should bring up close out that particular story thread about human trafficking and illegal narcotics being pumped into this country.
I have a couple of comments before we let you talk, Rox. It's Paul Hollis says, tremendous show tonight. I always love learning how to get better. Agreed. And George Dismuke says, Caleb rules and Linda is his boss.
You really understand life, George.
Wow. George does. He's our guru.
Yeah, he's married to Nadine. She's a force to be reckoned with and a very compassionate, sweet person. Yes. Now, Rox, do you have something you'd like to say before we sign off?
I just want to thank you for hosting us all. You guys are terrific. And we love you as hosts. So thank you very much. Linda, Caleb, we got to get together soon.
We do.
Yep.
We do. It's been too long.
Sorry we couldn't get to be with you, Charles, but got
Understand.
crazy.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
Yeah.
before history rolls over it, Joan, I love the way you do that Jedi mind trick on Rob. That is so cute. I mean, like, he doesn't need to know the answer to this. He's not the droid you're looking for, and he just goes, "No, yeah, you're right. Okay, I need you to teach me how to be able to do that Jedi mind trick. That is so cool when you pull that on Rob. It just cracks me up.
It's awesome. Makes things very smooth.
Happy wife, happy life. Joe Conchel says, great show tonight. Thanks to Mike, Rox, Charles, Caleb, Linda, and of course, Robin Joan. And our audience. Thanks to them.
Thanks all.
Everybody listening to the podcast afterwards. We're over 36,000, I think, now downloads of just the audio portion.
Yeah.
So all the different countries that people are listening to, thank you for listening. Pass the word.
Absolutely.
Share the show with other people, and we appreciate that. We'll be back. We're heading to Colorado next, and then on to points east, and then to points back south again in Tampa by mid-August. So we won't be seeing you live for a while.
Well, after Colorado, though, we're going to South Dakota.
Yeah.
It's not exactly east. I'm just saying.
Once we get to South Dakota, we're going to go east. I didn't want to bore everybody with this. But then we're going to Wisconsin, when we might have a live pop-up show there.
Be sure and take your compass.
You'll find.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go south, and then we're going to go home, which is south.
We're way south. We're in Florida.
Aren't you
So
all
we're
glad
south.
you heard all that? Boy.
And do you really care?
You care? I don't think so. All righty then.
Well, we've enjoyed having Rob and Joan here visiting with us today, and look forward to seeing them again in person. And yes, Rox, the four of us have got to get together soon. So I always have fun with those two.
I believe it. I am sure of that.
Oh, we always do. Oh, yeah.
And we had a great time with George and with Lonnie and Becca and Nadine, and we just had a great time. Richard Swin said, safe journeys, Robin Joan. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
We need all the help we can get. All the prayers, you send them up. We already had a blowout on the trailer. That was not a fun experience.
In a heat wave? No.
In the middle of a heat wave in downtown Baton Rouge. Ugh.
Yikes. So I guess until next time.
That's all, folks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com. where our shows are your shows.